Artemis 1. Artemis 1 is the first mission of NASA's Artemis program. Artemis 1 is an uncrewed mission that tested the capabilities of the Space Launch System rocket and the Orion spacecraft, which will be used for deep space missions, including the first lunar landing. On November 16, 2022, at 6:47:44 UTC, Artemis 1 was successfully launched from Kennedy Space Center. Mannequin Commander Munkin Campos sat in the commander's chair and wore the Orion Crew Survival System, a unique outfit made to help shield against radiation. Throughout the trip, 2 radiation sensors kept an eye on radiation levels. Arturo Campos, an electrical engineer who played a crucial role in bringing the Apollo 13 mission back to Earth safely, is honored by having his name given to Munkin Campos. Thanks to study by the German Space Agency, Campos was accompanied by 2 virtual female astronauts who occupied the other Orion seats, DLR. Zohar, one of the test subjects, wore a STEMRAD radiation protective vest. Helga, the other, was unprotected. Although the mannequins were secured, it was necessary to test out weightlessness. So NASA used a Snoopy plush toy outfitted with an iconic orange NASA uniform, also known as the pumpkin uniform, as a zero-gravity indicator in space. During the Artemis 1 mission, the Orion spacecraft was launched atop the SLS rocket from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The spacecraft then traveled on a 3-week journey around the moon, during which it tested the capabilities of the spacecraft systems and instruments, and evaluated its performance in the harsh environment of deep space. This included testing the spacecraft's life support systems, propulsion systems, and radiation protection systems. In addition to testing the SLS and Orion spacecraft, the Artemis 1 mission also tested a number of other technologies and systems that will be critical for future human missions to the moon. This included testing a new advanced solar electric propulsion system, which will be used to power the Gateway. After completing its lunar flyby, the Orion spacecraft returned to Earth, where it splashed down in the Pacific Ocean on December 11, 2022. This was the first time that the Orion spacecraft had been tested in deep space, and the data collected during the mission will be used to refine and improve the spacecraft's design for future missions. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson stated, quote, "The splashdown of the Orion spacecraft, which occurred 50 years to the day of the Apollo 17 moon landing, is the crowning achievement of Artemis 1. From the launch of the world's most powerful rocket to the exceptional journey around the moon and back to Earth, this flight test is a major step forward in the Artemis generation of lunar exploration." End quote. Artemis 1 is an important milestone in the Artemis program and has provided valuable data and insights that will be critical for future missions to the moon. By testing the SLS and Orion spacecraft and other key technologies, Artemis 1 has helped to pave the way for the first human landing on the moon since 1972. Artemis 2. The Artemis 2 mission is a planned NASA mission that will be the first crewed flight of the agency's Orion spacecraft and Space Launch System rocket. The Artemis 2 mission is scheduled to take place in 2024 and will involve sending a crew of 4 astronauts on a mission to the moon and carry out a lunar flyby for a maximum of 21 days using the Block 1 variant of the Space Launch System. Depending on the mission's goals, the mission may last up to 3 weeks, but it is anticipated to last 8 to 10 days. If the new mission achieves its anticipated maximum altitude of 5,523 miles, or 8,889 kilometers above the moon's surface, the 4 astronauts aboard Artemis 2 will have traveled the farthest from Earth since the 1970s Apollo 13 mission. Although the 4 astronauts who will make up the Artemis 2 crew have not yet been announced, we do know this: all of NASA's astronauts will be qualified to participate in Artemis program flights, the agency announced in 2022. In addition, this mission will have an astronaut seat for the Canadian Space Agency. The CSA has 4 astronauts available, and one of the Artemis II crew members is still unnamed. After promising to contribute robots to NASA's manned lunar program, Canada was granted an astronaut seat. The mission will be the second opportunity for NASA to test the capabilities of the Orion spacecraft and SLS rocket in a deep space environment, and will provide valuable experience and expertise for future missions to the Moon and beyond. The Orion capsule, together with the SLS's upper stage, known as the Cryogenic Propulsion Stage, or ICPS, will orbit the Earth twice during Artemis II due to its human payload, as opposed to just once during Artemis I before proceeding to the Moon. While the crew is still relatively close to Earth, this is done to check that all systems are operating at their best. Before returning to Earth, the astronauts on board will go 7,400 miles, or 4,600 kilometers, beyond the far side of the Moon. One of the key goals of the Artemis II mission is to demonstrate the capabilities of the Orion spacecraft and SLS rocket, and to validate their performance in a deep space environment. The mission will also provide valuable experience and expertise for the astronauts, who will be among the first to fly on the Orion spacecraft and SLS rocket. By demonstrating the capabilities of the Orion spacecraft and the SLS rocket, the Artemis II mission will be a crucial step towards establishing a sustained human presence on the Moon, and will help lay the groundwork for future missions to destinations such as Mars and beyond. Artemis III. The Artemis III mission is a planned NASA mission that will be the first crewed landing on the Moon as part of the agency's Artemis program. The mission is scheduled to take place in 2025 and will be broken into 2 parts. The goal of the expedition is to send a woman and a person of color to the Moon for the first time. Up to 4 astronauts could leave Earth aboard the Orion spacecraft, connected to the SLS. But the Human Landing System, or HLS, will complete the surface mission. 2 crew members will go on that mission, and they will stay on the surface for 6 to 7 days. The other 2 astronauts will remain on Orion. Additional gear, including an unpressurized rover for astronauts to use on their lunar outings, will be pre-positioned on the surface before the Artemis III landing. Don't worry, we will cover HLS and the rover shortly in this video. The 2 astronauts on the lunar surface will conduct a variety of scientific experiments and demonstrations. The mission will also provide valuable experience and expertise for the astronauts, who will be among the first to land on the Moon since the ending of the Apollo program in 1972. The mission will also be an opportunity to test new technologies and systems, such as the lunar rover mentioned before, and other surface exploration vehicles. In addition to its practical goals, the Artemis III mission will also have a strong scientific focus. The astronauts on the mission will be equipped with a variety of scientific instruments and sensors, which they will use to conduct research on the Moon and its environment. The exact location on the Moon where Artemis will land has not yet been determined. However, NASA is currently considering a number of potential landing sites, including the lunar South Pole and the lunar equatorial region. The choice of landing site will be based on a number of factors, including the availability of resources such as water ice, the accessibility of the site, and the potential for scientific research. One of the key reasons why NASA is interested in exploring the lunar South Pole is the presence of water ice in the region. Water is an essential resource for human exploration of the Moon, as it can be used for drinking, hygiene, and as a source of oxygen. The presence of water ice at the lunar South Pole could provide a valuable resource for future missions to the Moon, and could help to support a sustained human presence on the lunar surface. Another reason why NASA is interested in exploring the lunar South Pole is the potential for scientific research. The lunar South Pole is an intriguing and little-studied region of the Moon, and could provide valuable insights into the Moon's geology and history. In particular, The region is believed to contain a number of impact craters that may contain valuable geological samples, which could help unlock the secrets of the Moon's past. Lunar vehicles. NASA is developing a number of new lunar vehicles that will be used to transport astronauts and cargo on the lunar surface. Some of the key lunar vehicles that are being developed as part of the Artemis program include the Human Landing System, or HLS, which will be used to transport astronauts from the lunar orbit to the surface of the Moon, and the Lunar Terrain Vehicle, or LTV, which will be used to transport astronauts and cargo across the lunar surface. The HLS and LTV vehicles are currently in the early stages of development and are being designed and built by NASA and its partners. The HLS vehicle is being developed by SpaceX. The LTV is being developed by Northrop Grumman. Both vehicles are expected to be ready for use on future Artemis missions to the Moon, and will be an essential part of the infrastructure that is needed to support a sustained human presence on the lunar surface. If space science is your passion, do us a favor and hit like and subscribe so we can keep making more great content for you. Human Landing System, or HLS. The HLS is being designed and built by SpaceX. It is designed to be a flexible and capable lander that can support a variety of different missions and objectives. According to the mission design, a Starship HLS will be launched into an Earth orbit by a Super Heavy booster, refueled by many Starship tanker spacecrafts, and then propelled into a lunar near-rectilinear halo orbit by another Super Heavy rocket. It will then dock with a crewed Orion spacecraft there, which will be sent into orbit by a NASA SLS launch vehicle. From Orion, a crew will transfer to HLS, which will make its way to the lunar surface and stay there for several days. The crew will thereafter be transported back to Orion in NRHO. The HLS is a Starship spacecraft from SpaceX that has been modified to function on and around the Moon. Starship HLS will never re-enter an atmosphere, unlike the Starship spaceship from which it derives. Hence, it lacks a heat shield and flight control surfaces. The complete spacecraft will land on the Moon and then launch from there, in contrast to prior HLS concepts that called for numerous stages. 6 Raptor engines installed at the tail of Starship HLS, like other Starship variations, are used when the spacecraft serves as the second stage during an Earth launch. In all other phases of flight, they serve as the main propulsion system for the aircraft. The variant will use mid-body high-thrust RCS thrusters to prevent plume impingement issues with the lunar regolith within 100 meters of the lunar surface. Instead of using the liquid oxygen and methane that the Raptor does, the thrusters burn gaseous oxygen and methane. These thrusters might not be required though. Around the outside of the vehicle, a ring of solar panels provides HLS with electricity. HLS's mission profile calls for in-orbit propellant transfer. A Starship variation designed as a propellant depot would be launched into Earth orbit before the HLS vehicle was launched from the planet. Between 4 and 14 tanker Starships missions transporting propellant would then partially or completely fill the depot. The HLS vehicle would then take off, arrive at the propellant storage when it was already loaded, and refill before moving from Earth orbit to lunar orbit. The HLS will be equipped with a number of advanced technologies and systems, including advanced propulsion systems, advanced guidance and navigation systems, and advanced life support systems. One of the key features of the HLS is its ability to land on a wide range of different terrains and environments on the lunar surface. The lander will be able to land on the lunar equatorial region, the lunar polar regions, and other challenging environments, such as rugged or mountainous terrain. The lander will be able to provide the astronauts with a safe and comfortable habitat, and will be equipped with a life support system that can maintain the temperature, pressure, and air quality inside the lander. The lander will also be able to provide the astronauts with a range of amenities and services, such as a kitchen, a toilet, and communication systems that can keep the astronauts in touch with mission control on Earth. The Lunar Terrain Vehicle, LTV. The projected LTV will be a dependable, modular vehicle that can explore the lunar surface for an extended period of time. Incorporating an airless tire solution, robotic construction, and excavation capabilities, as well as autonomous remote and manual driving, is what Northrop Grumman is planning to do with its planetary mobility system. To ensure that the LTV fits the needs of the Artemis astronauts, consideration from the first-hand experiences of Apollo astronauts has been taken, and the vehicle's tough design will be tuned to resist the harsh environment of the Moon. With a group of top-tier automotive and space industry partners, Northrop Grumman is spearheading systems integration and spacecraft design to produce a lunar terrain vehicle design that supports both human and robotic exploration of the Moon and beyond. Spacesuits. As part of the Artemis program, NASA is developing a new generation of spacesuits that will be worn by astronauts on future missions to the Moon. The new spacesuits, known as the Exploration Extravehicular Mobility Unit, or XEMU, will be designed to be more capable, comfortable, and versatile than previous spacesuits, and will be tailored to the specific requirements of lunar exploration. One of the key features of the XEMU spacesuit is its advanced life support system, which will provide astronauts with a safe and comfortable environment to work in on the lunar surface. The life support system will be able to maintain the temperature and pressure inside the spacesuit, and will be able to provide the astronauts with oxygen, water, and other necessary supplies. The life support system will also be able to filter and recycle the air inside the spacesuit, which will help to conserve resources and extend the duration of the astronauts' missions on the Moon. The XEMU is made to endure temperatures as low as -250 degrees Fahrenheit and as high as 250 degrees Fahrenheit in direct sunlight. Astronauts will be shielded by the pressure garment on their suit from low atmospheric pressure, radiation, and incredibly high temperatures. Another key feature of the XEMU spacesuit is its mobility and flexibility. The spacesuit will be designed to allow the astronauts to move freely and easily on the lunar surface, and will be equipped with a variety of joint locks and bearings that will allow the astronauts to bend and flex their joints. The spacesuit will also be equipped with a new generation of gloves that will provide the astronauts with enhanced dexterity and precision, which will be essential for conducting scientific experiments and other tasks on the lunar surface. The XEMU helmet has several voice-activated microphones that immediately pick up the astronauts' voices when they communicate to a colleague spacewalker, their crewmates, or mission control in Houston. It also has a quick-swap protective visor that shields it from wear and tear. In addition to its advanced features, the XEMU spacesuit will also be designed to be more durable and reliable than previous spacesuits. The spacesuit will be built using advanced materials and manufacturing techniques, which will help to ensure that the spacesuit can withstand the harsh conditions on the lunar surface. Costs involved. The total cost of the Artemis program is not yet known with certainty, as the program is still in constant stages of development. However, NASA has estimated that the program will cost approximately $93 billion to complete. These estimates are subject to change, as the program is constantly changing and the cost may vary depending on a number of factors. Another factor that will determine the cost of the Artemis program is the establishment of a lunar base. The Artemis program envisions the establishment of a lunar base that will serve as a staging point for future missions to the Moon and beyond. The cost of establishing and maintaining this base will be significant and will include the development of new technologies and systems, the construction of habitats and other infrastructure, and the provision of supplies and support to the astronauts on the Moon. Future Artemis missions. Currently, NASA has 5 more Artemis missions planned spread out until approximately 2031. Following that, there are currently 2 more missions at the proposal stage. We decided not to cover these missions in this video as there is currently limited detail surrounding them. As more information comes to light, we will be sure to create a follow-up video for you all to enjoy. So, there you have it, a full rundown of the Artemis program. The future of space exploration is a bright and exciting one, full of opportunities and challenges that are sure to inspire and engage people of all ages and backgrounds. As we continue to explore the vast expanse of space, we will uncover new and fascinating secrets about the universe and about ourselves. And we will develop new technologies and systems that have the potential to improve our lives on Earth. But the journey ahead will not be an easy one. There will be obstacles and challenges to overcome, and there will be risks and sacrifices that will need to be made. But the rewards of space exploration are great, and the knowledge and expertise we gain from our explorations will be invaluable as we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible and to chart a bold and ambitious course for humanity in the 21st century and beyond. So let us embrace the future of space exploration with optimism and determination, and let us work together to make the most of the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. For the future of space exploration is not just about reaching the stars. It is about reaching for the very best that humanity has to offer. If you've enjoyed this video, do us a favor and hit like, click, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.